Saying that she never had a nigga like this. Says shake it up, still the realest nigga in the mix. Why they always acting like a nigga ain't shit? Talk slick, then we empty out the clip. 6 figures for the whip, bitch. You ain't gon' tell me shit. Stuck to my body, I'm the dog, she the tick. I'm the god pussy, this ain't no motherfucking facade. My niggas comfy at the top, we ain't never took a loss. Demon girls, land train fangs, got an only fans, fucking on a succubus. I feel like I'm devil man, bloody when I'm up in there, harness with a pentagram. How you get a black hole independent? It was in the plan. She's fucked, yeah, same, that's my bitch. Corpse got it tatted in my skin. Autopilot with black matic with the tank. Got a sucking on my dick while we bump trips till you throw it back, then I blow it back. Drop it down low, let them know it's like that. Feel like I'm hexed. こんな風に暇をもてあそぶことになるとは笑えるな。荒野にさまよう魂、我を傷つけられると思うな。こんな風に暇をもてあそぶことになるとは笑えるな。
2:45 p.m. Wake up from snoring, open DM, scan of Red Bull by the bed. Vape is charged and Snapchat's red. She's beauty, she's grace. She has a profile picture.
嫌なことを思い出してしまった。
I gotta fucking strangle someone. 1 second.
Let's skip to the good bit. Let's consummate our internet connection. I'm in love with him. I'm in love with him. I'm in love with him. With an ego. I'm in love.
こんな風に暇をもてあそぶことになるとは笑えるな。
Mum took away my PS4, so I punched a hole through
It's turned off. Why are you like this? Fuck me.
嫌なことを思い出してしまった。
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, Cyber. Welcome to the stream. How are you? I'm ready to kill someone. You're wondering what the fuck the lore is? It's not mine. We just have a very funny running inside joke of me and my friends. I'm hearing a taser. You're not hearing a taser. I have a monster. I don't know. Why do I have a monster at 7 o'clock? Because I'm fucking thirsty and I don't want a soda. Also, I'm doing stuff on my phone really quickly. Moving that out of the way of my mouth so I don't actually keep hitting my drink. It's not soda. Monster is soup. It's the fact that I have so many scenes. Oh, fuck. I've never seen that drop to red so fast. It's a crackly sound of a pin taser. Hey, yo? Okay. Hi. I am fucking exhausted. Oh, I thought my headset broke. It didn't. Hi, Quack. Hi, Slasha. Hi, Seal. Hello, friends. First things first. Hello, my schedule's gonna be fuck the next 2 weeks. Why? It's because me and my friends are working on the week stream scheduling shit. In other words, what game can I play and not play on stream? Yada yada yada. Wonderfulness. I also dyed my hair. Which fucking fried it, which is why it looks so short. Cool. It has been fixed. We're not gonna be in Genshin for very long. I'm in the teapot because it's cozy, and I was working on it. Okay. Where the fuck do I need to go? Fuck. That works. Have you heard this amazing new game called Minecraft? Yes, I have. I have it, except I lost the password again. Play Uno right now. No. No, I'm too lazy to set up Uno. Because I don't remember my password. Looks like a brown, purple, and black for me. My top is a very dark purple. This is supposed to be silver, but my hair was like, now we're gonna reject the color. So it's a very fucking messy. We don't talk about how messy my hair is. Cool, I'm not playing Uno. Do I really want to deal with this? No, I don't. Why? Because I don't want to set it up. I really don't want to have to set up a Uno game right now. Looks stupid. Yeah, I'm too lazy to open my Uno, wait for all that bullshit to happen, and then probably have to re-log in because I have not touched Uno since I fucking bought it. Actually, that's a lie. The last time I played it with people. Shit. Fuck. There we go. That's one. This should not take this long. Yes, everyone, come over here. Fuck! Thank you. Oh, cool. I like the Dude, I also didn't stream yesterday because it was so fucking itchy. Also, I was doing this, but like, I was so tired yesterday that I was like, I don't want to deal with the itchy. So I just slept and was enjoying the day. Take that from me really quickly. Hi! This is the worst I've done in this domain. Hey friend. Hold that for me. That's not the worst I've done. Stop being an itchy bitch. This game absolutely fucking hates me. A wrong type of element. Wish it was 90 outside. It's fucking 90 here. Uno card set, I literally only have the original, and I fucking hate the 0s and 7s. If you play 0 and 7s with me, I'm throwing hands. How did I almost fuck that up? Fuck you. Hold that for me. One is down. Oh fuck, we just got him. Oh, you're a new bitch. Fuck. Oh, thank you, Jellyfish, for keeping my ass alive. Dude, fuck 0s and 7s. You play an Uno game with me and they're there, I'm fucking leaving. Yep, there it goes. Sitting at a crisp 100. Why the fuck do you? I didn't even see the time I finished that at. Wow, we are all just dying. Meanwhile, I'm in a pair of black jeans and a long hoodie. While it is hot outside. Please, please, please. Oh, shit. Give me that. We out. That's all I want in life. Time to sacrifice my soul for this thing. I need to get you a new flower. I need my crit rate, because this is a crit damage. Hey, friend. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. Ow. My throat actively just died. No, my throat's dying. Damn. That works. Shut the fuck up, Gucci! No, that's for another character coming soon. I will try to get another circlet, but for now, this works. Nope, I need those for other characters. Fuck my life. Those two. Fuck me. No, it's not. I'm just far away from it. Is my mic actually broken? Son of a bitch. Okay, you are going somewhere else. Oh, fuck, it is. Oh, fuck, it is. Oh, fuck, it is. That fixed it. No, it did not. That fixed it. No, it did not. That fixed it. That's something else making that sound. That fixed it. That's something else making that sound. That's something else making that sound. Oh, it was the video in the fucking background. Why do you forsake me now? Why do you forsake me now? There we go. There we go. Nope, it's still there. Okay, fuck it. Nope, it's still there. Okay, fuck it. We'll figure it out later. What can I sacrifice? I never use wandering. I'm not slapping my mic. It sounds like the screen after a jump scare. I'm not slapping my mic. R.I.P. the Wanderers. I'm okay with that. Oh, fuck. I'll do that one just for a little bit, just to get the 4-piece. I'm not slapping my mic. Okay, OBS is connected to it.
I thought for a second it fucking wasn't.
It's picking up something. It's not my mic. It's picking up something that is making that sound. Because it doesn't stay this fucking high. Now it stops. Fucking cool. Awesome. Alright. Probably. Ghost got the PC. It probably is my headphones. It actually might be my phone. Ghost got the PC? Probably not, but it might be my phone. It also might be because for like the couple of days, this will randomly like spike, like it will keep like flashing on and off when my PC is turned off, which is weird. But no, yeah, there's something causing it, and I'm fairly certain it's probably my phone. Alright, she has a Blizzard piece. Which, as much as I don't want to fucking go to that domain, I kind of need to. It's the 5Gs. The 5Gs, man. 5Gs, fuck everything. Okay. Also, there's something in my eye.
Once the
snow's thick enough, we can eat it.
Fuck it. Fuck it. Funny enough, without like the weird lighting, my top part of my hair actually looks like A's. Time to do some fun shit. Doo-da, doo-da. I know they don't work well together, but they're fucking hot. Woo! Fuck. Ah! Oh no. Oh, she doesn't have anything on her, I forgot. And it's already back. Shut up, a bitch maid. Fuck. Electro charge a bitch! Let me kill the Abyss Mage first. Thank you, Raiden. Okay, that actually surprisingly works well together. My phone fucking turned off. Aggressively knocks on it. If there is a ghost in my house, please kindly get the fuck out of here. Please, please. Fuck, am I ever... No, I'm not building the child! Fuck you, game. Fun fact, I don't need to build Yuan because she's getting her own fucking artifact set, so I don't have to build emblem for her! Even though she has like 50 emblem pieces. What the fuck? What is happening outside? I just looked and there's like people working. Let's go another round. It's so fucking quiet in my house. There's no reason. I also need to call someone. Fuck it, I'm texting. That's place, not please. Please get food. We don't know what the fuck to cook. Woo! Fucking just... How much was that? Yes. Fuck. Oh! I'm gonna freeze to death. Now I can fucking dodge perfectly fine! Please. Please. Game! Fuck you. That was actual fear. This game fucking spites me. This game actively lives to hurt me. I know, I know. I'm not gonna question why the fuck my things went up so high. doing things in the background. Hold on. I'm doing things in the background. Hold on. Doing things in the background. Hold on. Beauty of having a stream in the background, you just hear yourself echoing multiple times. The stream's gonna break. Somewhere along the lines, the stream's gonna fucking die.
I also hate this.
Okay. Alright.
I don't
give a fuck that the party is lower than recommended. At this point, this is what I spike the streams with. Physical? I did that by accident. Oh fuck, honey, he's not healed. Hold that for me. Wait, oh my god, time increases? You now tell me this? Where is he? There you are! Kill him. Kill him. He's dead. There she is. Yada yada yada, suck my dick. You are the most annoyingest person in this fucking game. I've never had a hatred towards a character other than this bitch. Shut up, you moaning bitch. Why the fuck did I do that? Oh no, it still counts. Ears died. Well, I'm not fucking. There we go. I'll just turn that down a little bit. Yeah, this game fucking hates me. This game fucking despises me. Oh. Trapped by animals. Fuck. I don't want to go kill boars, though. Mondstadt, please. Please. Oh, I was gonna talk about this. Fucking Wayward's partner's in town. Or I should fucking say in the... Not what I wanted to make. But that's fine. And they look so much like Albedo from this fucking game is ridiculous. So I was like, damn. So now we just call him Albedo. It's so fucking hilarious. That's not his name. It is nowhere near the name. We just call him that now. Oh, hey, bye, Slasha. That's fine. Go do what you need to do. I don't have the money for it. Give me the eggs. Thank you. Whoa. Alright. What can I cook now? Practically fucking everything. Miso soup. Miso soup. Still don't have the steaks, which I think is hilarious. I'm here for your fucking jams. Oh wait, she also has flour. Give me the flour. Yes, an entire week of streams. Yes, there's gonna be like a small period during that week where I'm not at my house because I have a doctor's appointment because because guess what I need to go do? I need to go get more fucking blood drawn. Why? I don't know. Yeah. So there's gonna be like a period on Wednesday I'm not gonna be here. But it's early in the morning. Fuck. Yes. Yes. Ah, damn. Oh, that is defense food, though, so that's nice. Damn. If it fits in with the other thing, then yes. Because we're still figuring out what games to play, and so far we're leaning towards another section which a bunch of other games like Genshin and The Sims will not be able to be played with. So it might be, it's on the table to check. Is that Yen face? Perfect. That's all I want. I want all the characters' special dishes because I think they're really fucking cute to look at. Ow! Okay then. Okay, bye music. Restore stamina. Wait. Nope, then I don't care for it. Because I, frankly, run out of stamina too much. Unless you're my friends, then everyone fucking despises the jump in. No. I just slapped my finger against my corner. Ooh, why am I just now learning about this dish? Hi, Fischl. I'm pretty sure I already have her specialty dish. But I just want to cook these now. That looks fucking good. I don't think we have food. Because my mom's home. Please. Please. Good sir, I'm running out of supplies. Please. Yep, I do have our signature food. Or her special dish. Madam, I did my... Alright. What's the last thing I want to do? I have to sneeze. Oh fuck, never mind. That's not gonna show me what I need. Beta, my darling, what do you need? You need a shit ton of those. Perfect. This is an excuse to kill something. I need to fucking build people. Yes, Bennett, come here. You might never hear me ever say this, but I need sweet flowers just because I was a dumbass. I could have gotten Noelle. Okay, yep, I definitely need more artifacts for her. Holy sh... Damn. Oh, fuck. I'm out of food. Damn, the one day I say I don't need the... Fuck me. Please don't come over here. I've learned just to run behind it. Boop. Yeah, I need to build him. Cool. Don't care. It's the last one.
無駄だ。
Please don't. Fuck. Yeah. I text her. I deserve that 100%. You haven't 100% this game yet? This game is still fucking going. That's what I wanted. This game still is being developed. So no, I'm not 100% this game because I can't. I still have 5 more nations I have to discover. No, I'm going to be graduating college by the time this game is finished. And even then, I'm only 100% in one area, and I don't even know how the fuck I did that. Like, the one area I haven't, like, even explored is this island, because I fucking hate this island. But everything else, I've fucking explored. I'm caught up in the story until whatever fucking new thing comes. Which is happening in, like, how many more days? Sorry, Ganya, I almost fucking killed you. In 6, so probably about 30-something days. Looks like an island. It's fucking not. Fuck that island. I have an obscure hatred for that island. This island, you cannot physically fucking explore without doing the quest, and even then I fucking despise it, even though there's like a literal landmarks of things I need to collect for characters. Also, fuck this mob. I hate this mob. Hey Miko, how many do I have? I have 20? Haha, yeah, no. Completely forget what I was about to say. We're gonna go the opposite way of those fucks. Good sir, I just want the chest, but I'll take it. Because oh fuck, that level 70. Oh, it's a common chest. Fuck yeah, I'll take it. Oh, give me the fall. Oh shit. Nice. That should not have worked in my favor, but here we are. Don't mind me. Give me that. And we're gonna go here. Damn. Wow. I'm actually truly fucking terrible at keeping up with these. I also hear Gucci whining in the background.
That's an abyss mage. Yeah, no, fuck that.
What chest is it? Is that a common chest? I'll take it. Hello, friends. Fuck my life. Hey, take that from me really quickly. Thank you. Oh, shit. Ow! Fuck you! Fuck you, bitch! Leave me alone! Oh, fuck you. I fucking have a hatred for these. Oh! Oh. Kill him! Fuck you! Drown him. Oh. He actually drowned! Don't know how he drowned. But I will forever take it. I need these for Miko.
これらの使い道はまあいい。
Oh, I actually need these berries. Sorry. He charged at me first. Huh? I feel like that was supposed to take me to, Where are you? Nope, not going there. I see things I fucking despise. Alright. Never mind. We are gonna now jump to the lore. That wasn't a pig, that's a boar. Alright, we're gonna jump to the lore. Because I think it's funny because of a joke me and my friends made. There we go. Lights are on because it's fucking getting dark. I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I am a Kingdom Hearts fan. Fuck. And so me and my friends were talking about like lore and things, and I don't know who the fuck said it. Yeah, because we were like talking about like the FNAF lore, and someone said, "Oh, who's going live?" Just a diddly darn hot minute. Let me just open something up. Did you hack me his Discord? I am actively not in this man's Discord. Why are you asking me? I don't talk in his Discord. If I did, then someone hacked me. No, I did not. But I just think it's hilarious how FNAF lore is the pregame. This is where the good shit is. So I just think it is hilarious. Ah, fuck. I was a cow. No, I didn't. Why? What happened? I've not spoken to V in forever.
There isn't much time left. Kingdom Hearts 3 is just behind the horizon. With only being days away, I figured I would take it upon myself to try.
Oh, this was before the third game. Hold up. This is a 2-hour long video. Oh, no. Why can't I introduce Kingdom Hearts to my friends? Yeah, no. Dude, I'm not on Discord often. Ray, me and V are never on Discord. Me and Mage V are never on Discord. Fucking Nyx is only on Discord when she needs a bitch about Adobe, and then Ray's just always on Discord. Also, I just realized this is a 10-hour fucking game, and we beat it in a day. Give me the iceberg.
Few games will establish the legacy and boundless fanbase that has accrued for the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Taking a page out of the book that they'd written long before, Square teamed up with another industry titan to create one of the most magical franchises to date.
So Nyx had the right idea to leave the Discord.
The
Nice.
stardom of Disney's classic characters, alongside new and engaging heroes, all in a vast and immersive series of games that spanned out over 2 decades. This is the Kingdom Hearts iceberg. Mickey Mouse Easter eggs. There are over 100 reported Easter eggs that can be found throughout the games that feature the simple shape of Mickey Mouse's face. One doesn't even have to look hard to find them, and I imagine some of them were not even intended. For kids and adults alike, the game was originally intended to feature a basic plot that would appeal to Disney's target demographic of young children, but then the Final Fantasy Godfather intervened. Sakaguchi informed the mayor that he believed the game would fail if the plot does not aim to be as good as one of Square's Final Fantasy games. The plot was then further developed by Nomura.
Damn.
The name Kingdom Hearts was inspired by Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park, which had just opened in Florida at the time. As Nomura continued to construct the plot around the concept of the characters' hearts,
Send me what the
he
message
chose to
was.
combine the 2 names to become Kingdom Hearts.
I don't
Sora
speak
could
to
have been
this
Mickey
man
Mouse,
very often, but I know how he
Mickey to be the
types,
main
or I know how he
protagonist.
sounds over DMs.
Disney wanted Donald to be the major figure, but Nomura wanted to create a unique character instead. Thus, Sora was created, though he does dress similarly to Mickey Mouse in order to pay
Holy
homage
shit, he
to the
does.
Disney mascot.
I never paid attention to how
Toy
Sora
Story
dressed.
chapters. We saw a segment of Kingdom Hearts 3 devoted to Toy Story. However, we know that there was originally planned to be an included Toy Story segment for the first 2 games as well. In fact, they have revealed that the story had already been completely drafted before being removed from the final versions of the game. Beta logo. The beta version of the game had a much different logo than we see in the final product.
So
Many brands
ugly.
will go through multiple iterations of their logo, and Kingdom Hearts is no different. The beta logo was admittedly pretty bland as well. Who is the mysterious king? Several clever Redditors have theorized that Sora is the only king in the Kingdom Hearts universe, saying, the crown on the Kingdom Key and Sora's necklace are both symbols of Kingdom Hearts. As a result, many people believe Sora is the legitimate king. That may not be enough to persuade you, but one Redditor goes on to point out a couple of additional design aspects in the series that might not only depict Sora seated on a throne of Keyblades, but he is also wearing the very same crown that signifies Kingdom Hearts. Then there's that.
Oh shit, he is. Alright, wait. I want to take a look at this. I'm pausing the video. Son of a bitch, my mouse is gone. Can I have my mouse back, please? Yeah, that's V. Yeah, it's free.
The Axe Blade, which is said to be made up
Fuck.
of 2 kingdom keys, one of which is Sora's.
Oh, good, my mouse is back.
Disney Castle. In the first game,
Yeah, it's
Disney
the
Castle was
fucking
used as an
summer.
art asset in Kingdom Hearts cutscenes.
Dude, it's summer.
However, in an early
Most
version of the
people
game,
don't
it
stream
was a
very
playable
often
environment that players could traverse on through
because
Disney
people are
Castle.
like
This was
going out
eventually
and
added
celebrating
into
their
Kingdom
summer
Hearts 2.
because V is a
Original
college
Sora art.
student.
Early concept art for Sora showed him quite a bit different. He still wielded a blade of some kind.
He has a tail.
Though it doesn't look to be an exact keyblade, he also had a tail, crown, and longer spiked hair. Revenge value. The combo system in Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix is designed such that, after every hit, nearly all bosses will remain staggered for a short period of
You
time.
think streamers are
allowing
just
the player
online
to keep up with the
24/7?
combo
You're
until the
wrong.
last finisher is performed. After that, a cooldown
Dude, I
period
don't touch
happens for
games
Sora before he
outside
can
of
start
streaming
using
unless I'm with other
Bosses have
people.
their own AI, according to which the game selects an action for them to perform when they are not staggered. This is often referred as normal revenge. An
Yeah,
implication
dude,
of the
streamers are allowed
combo
to take
system
breaks
is
from
that a
just being
boss
online
cannot
in
execute
general.
a normal revenge when staggered. Often, even the cooldown time after a combo is not enough for them to perform an action. For these reasons, the developers assigned to every action executable by Sora a hidden non-negative value
Food.
on their side. The bosses have an invisible gauge with a certain capacity, which is
Hey, I took out the laundry!
actions. When the gauge current value reaches or exceeds the maximum value, the boss can and will choose an action between a predefined set and performs it against the party even if it's still staggered. Sanctuary is the same reversed. As cool as that sounds, the song is definitely not the same forward and reversed, although many fans believe the parts you don't understand are supposed to be backwards or that there's a message hidden in it that has yet to be revealed. I will play a few clips and let you be the judge.
Is that a dream?
Nilhart. This is a simulated version of Xehanort wearing Keyblade armor. It's a completely optional boss in Birth by Sleep Final
I
Mix at the
completely
Mirage
forgot, but
Arena.
I don't believe
Its name is an anagram of Xehanort with the
I don't
letter
believe
X
anyone
in it.
who like says like, oh, you can hear
DM's
voices in songs in
Desperation
universe.
move.
Yeah, if you tell me
Or
what you
DM for
hear.
short, are powerful attacks that bosses
that the
will
Dream's
launch at
voice?
you
No.
after a certain amount of damage has been accrued. Each boss has their own
Even though I do
specific
have a stream
attack
open in the
patterns and
background.
DM setup, but with proper use of revenge values, you can completely skip the boss's desperation moves. The conception of Kingdom Hearts. The initial idea for Kingdom Hearts began with a discussion between Shinji Hashimoto and Hironobu Sakaguchi about Super Mario 64. They were planning
That's
to
my
make a game
dad.
with freedom of movement in 3 dimensions like Super Mario 64, but they lamented
Oh.
that only characters as popular as Disney's could rival a Mario game. Tetsuya Nomura, overhearing their conversation, volunteered to lead the project and the 2 producers agreed to let him direct. A chance
No,
meeting
it was an
between
American voice
Hashimoto
actor. Never mind, I
and
was about to
Disney
say something, but no.
executive in an elevator allowed Hashimoto to pitch the idea directly to Disney. Development began in
Dreams of
February
Dad? No.
2000 with Nomura as
No.
director and Hashimoto as producer. While Nomura had done previous work
I'm
in the
not that
Final
much younger
Fantasy
than
series as
Dream.
monster designer and
Which I
graphic
think is
director.
fucking
He did
hilarious.
not gain widespread recognition until he was the lead character designer for Final Fantasy VII. Kingdom Hearts marked his transition into a
I'm a couple
directorial
years behind
though
Dream.
he
No.
also served as the game's character designer. Scenarios were provided by Kazushige Nojima, who was a scenario writer for Square from Final Fantasy VII until he left in 2003. Originally, the development focused on the gameplay with a simple story to appeal to Disney's target age range. After Sakaguchi told Nomura the game would be a failure if it did not aim for the same level as the Final Fantasy series, he began to develop the story further to the level that it became known and loved for. Lost source code. Like many other
Probably
games
because
created around this time period,
we.
the original
don't
source
know.
code for the original Kingdom
I'm gonna
Hearts
fucking
was
tell him
lost,
that.
forcing the developers to recreate the code by manually extracting data from retail versions of the game. Vexen Fight Remastered. This is a boss in 2.5 Final Mix that creates a Shadow Sora that periodically attack you. In the western port of the game, the fight was significantly harder due to the game running at 60 frames per second, making the artificial Sora move twice as fast. New challenger approaching. On October 18th in the Americas and the 19th outside of the Americas, Sora will become a playable character in Smash Bros. Ultimate. The 19th is also significant as one of longtime composers of the Kingdom Hearts series. Yoko Shimomura also has a birthday. Short organization battles. Many of us were disappointed with how brief our battles with Kairi and Axel were in the fight against the organization. Some believe they have found a reasoning. Kairi's skirt. The developers were very careful not to reveal too much to players of the game that might want to explore. Some believe that this part of the game was cut short to prevent this situation from occurring, especially since they'd already had to patch out situations like this in HD versions of the game. The next saga villain in the making. It is yet to be verified, but Luxu appears to be the next enemy at the moment. Although the Master of Masters is expected to return, many people still believe he is a bad guy, but to figure out who the primary opponent is, we'll have to wait till the next epic. Scrapped Bahamut Summon. This famous square creation was intended on being in the original game. Unfortunately, system limitations prevented the summon from being put in the final version. The summon can be accessed through cheats, but the game will crash upon its selection.
My father now knows that he sounds like Dream, which is funny, because the way I introduced my dad to Dream was that I was watching MCC, and I walked out, and I said, the Florida man is in first place. Because Dream's from Florida. And my dad's like, who the fuck is the Florida man? And I was like, oh, it's a streamer named Dream. So I just have to say the Florida man, he instantly know who Dream is. Jesus Christ, is that going to be a conspiracy theory now that I might know? No, I'm going to shut the fuck up.
Birth by Sleep was a very small and simpler game by many standards. It was originally planned to be released on the PS2 in a more extensive manner. However, the plan changed and they were forced to switch gears by reducing the game for the PSP. The devs used the code word KH0 as their internal name for the game. What's inside the box? Some have speculated that the package contains an X-Blade. Luxord claims it includes Hope. Yet it's such a broad statement that it may refer to anything. Some have theorized that the box contains the Book of Prophecies written by the Master of Masters, which has been told to hold all the secrets of the past and future. Other theories postulate that we may never actually see what's inside the box, as it's intentionally being withheld from us, much like the briefcase in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction film. Another popular theory suggests that the box contains the Master of Masters' heart. Another Keyblade wielder. The elusive new character known as Yazora has been theorized to be an efficient Keyblade bearer. We actually see that Yazora is able to steal Sora's Keyblade, which has only ever been done by Riku. It's unclear whether this was just as a way to disarm him or because he is actually proficient at wielding the weapon. The Cydia NT and Toy Box.
No one did. The artist just like, hey, get a moisturizer that's non-scenting and can be like used for most people.
Though this does potentially invite additional questions about the canon around both of these games.
I got it from the store.
In Traverse Town. Some have speculated that
the store that no longer exists near my school because they got rid of it.
Fantasy 10, while the looks are similar. Most fans don't believe this theory to hold much water. Character anagrams. Several characters within the series are perfect anagrams for existing words within the companies behind the game. One would be Araki's rearranging to be square, while Yensid actually perfectly reverses around to spell Disney.
This one I knew.
As to any potential meanings or significances to these anagrams, but most are commonly disregarded. Kingdom Hearts 1 animated series pilot. In 2002, there was a planned animated series for the game. The show was said to have an anime-like art style with the same plot, characters, and worlds from the game. Early drafts and storyboards for the show were completed and presented to Disney. However, Disney rejected the proposal, claiming it was too dark for the intended audience and demographic. The show's writer and director, Sean Kearsley, posted these storyboard panels of the proposed pilot on his DeviantArt. Sora's heart. Sora lost a portion of his heart when he transported everyone from the 2.9 world line to the KH3 world line, and because his heart was missing, he couldn't keep his form together. Sora vanished because his incomplete heart couldn't hold him together when Kairi's heart returned to her in Remind. The blonde-haired kid. Before his name was officially revealed, fans suggested that BHK stands for blonde-haired kid. They assigned this moniker to Roxas, guessing about his character and why he possesses a Keyblade. Unused Keyblades. There were 2 unused palette-swapped Keyblades hidden through the first 2 games. Players are able to use cheating devices to gain these 2 weapons. The Edge of Ultima, another version of the original Ultima weapon, as well as the Detection Saber, which is another palette-swapped variant except it's slightly larger. There was also a weapon called the Wing Gear which provides the Windmaker attack. However, both of these graphics were transferred over to the Leviathan instead. Dissidia was originally a Kingdom Hearts game. This game is the spiritual successor to the PSP game Dissidia Duodecim Final Fantasy.
Damn.
However, instead of Final Fantasy characters, several unique Kingdom Hearts characters are featured. The game was supposed to be a Kingdom Hearts game, but Disney refused to let them utilize Disney characters in a fighting game. Instead, they awaited the conclusion of the Xehanort saga in order to have a larger
If
selection
you're about to say, is that the king from Kingdom Hearts? As we're listening to Kingdom Hearts, I was gonna laugh.
Includes characters who don't appear in the main series. Riku, I Am Your Father, Xehanort, as we all know, comes in a
Ray, why
variety
did you
of
send me a
forms.
TikTok?
Long and spiky light-colored hair is a common theme among those forms, with the exception of a couple. You have to agree, Xemnas and Riku share a striking resemblance. Knowing that Xehanort comes from the Destiny Islands doesn't rule out the possibility that one of Xehanort's incarnations is Riku's father, or grandfather. The creation of Namine, Kairi, like the other Disney princesses including Alice, should not have given birth to a nobody, as she is a princess of heart. The princesses of heart are supposed to be completely pure. Thus, no heartless or nobody may be born from them. They don't have heartless if they don't have darkness inside of them. There can be no nobody if they don't have any heartless.
What the
This
fuck?
causes a problem. Namine, how can she exist if she is Kairi's nobody? As we are led to believe,
Oh.
Kairi should not give birth to a nobody. The solution is actually rather straightforward. Kairi's heart was merged with Sora's in his body, because Sora had evil inside him. Namine was created when Sora's nobody, Roxas, was created. T-blades produce additional energy blades along their edges. According to HMK,
I want to see what the fuck
keyblade
this TikTok
creates
is,
an
but it's
extra
not
pure
loading.
energy outer blade that is responsible for the slicing. While HMK goes on to say that the secondary blade may be composed of plasma. This element of the hypothesis appears implausible because the blades don't have
I
the
hate you.
industrial design
I
systems
fucking
it
hate
has.
you.
They could generate anything like a plasma drill bit. It's more probable.
I'm playing this out loud because it's relating to this.
And I'll tell you the tale of Kingdom Hearts lore. Buckle up, cowboy.
I feel like FNAF lore sort of fucking pales in comparison to Kingdom
Oh
Hearts.
shit, yeah. It's time to take a week
think
off just to process.
The FNAF lore is the pre-gaming, and then...
Oh,
Exactly. The FNAF lore is foreplay, and then after
Yeah.
that you move on to Kingdom Hearts lore. Kingdom Hearts lore is that big boy shit. When FNAF lore doesn't really do it for you anymore, you gotta move on to Kingdom Hearts lore.
FNAF lore is like kindergarten shit. Going to college is Kingdom Hearts.
Sit down, I'll tell you the tale.
Welcome to also why I did not stream yesterday because I was dying fucking laughing
that the outer
enough
blade
that like
is
I
a natural
almost.
force. Sora
So
died.
Ray sent that to
Sora
me.
went to rescue Kairi after she had been killed
Bruh.
by Xehanort.
It's fucking true though.
Graveyard in KH3.
No,
Some have
so
theorized
the
that
reason,
Sora
so
used
there's a
the
lot of
power
reasons why I didn't
Luke
stream
from
yesterday.
fallen guardians
But it was just like
of light.
majority that I was
And that
talking
when
with
he
a lot
brought
of people
Kairi
over
back,
Discord.
He had to use his own remaining power to
Yes,
bring her back in
it
his
is.
Who
The
feels
third
like
game
Yazora
is-
gets wakened up by his driver in a specific cutscene. which
is
may be
like
brutal,
so
but is
fucking
improved.
complicated.
The guy addresses him as commander and
Yes,
speaks to him
it
briefly.
is. It is
Those
that
are
fucking
faces
big
seen in the game.
that I cannot like the FNAF lore. Yeah, I can tell you that shit in like 30 minutes simplified. Kingdom Hearts, you're gonna need a week off when I tell you that
His
shit.
voice sounds eerily similar to Luxord's voice
Like
before.
motherfucker, I got someone
The
who's
fact that
dead.
Organization 13 member is from Yazora's planet is a surprise twist.
FNAF
That
isn't even
makes
solved.
so
Yeah, it
much
never
more
fucking will.
even more
Cause
intriguing
Scott
than
keeps fucking changing
Brain is
things.
Yazora.
The FNAF lore is never gonna be completely finished.
Despite the fact that Brain looks to have become a vessel for Luxu, he also appears in Scala ad Calum. It appears to have been intended, since Luxu stated that he will see the Five again. We may expect to see Ephemera again. Despite the fact that he looks to have been transported ahead in time the smallest distance, it appears that Ephemera is still alive when Brain awakens in Scala ad Calum at the end of the Union finale, for whatever reason. And that
Again,
appears to
I
have
will
been there
talk
for a
shit
specific
about
purpose.
Scott Coffin
To
because
save
one,
Sora.
he's a
It's
fucking
possible that
homophobic
Sora's
piece of shit.
imprisonment in unreality was predicted in the Book of Prophecies. We know that
Excuse me?
unreality is
The
mentioned
fucking
in
the book of what?
as the master
Isn't
of
Scott
Masters
retired?
says,
Yeah.
and
Which
Luxu,
is also
as
why the
Zephyr,
lore is never gonna be
implies to
finished.
Sora that he knows what
But
his fate
again,
will be,
you
implying
have
that he was
whatever
either
the fuck the
appointed by
company is
Master
that
of
made.
Masters or by Xehanort, who
Oh,
seems to have
Steelwolf.
read at
But you have
least some of the
Steelwolf
Book of
working on
Prophecies.
other games,
As he makes
mostly.
comments about what has and hasn't been written. The Femmer most likely
Fucking,
dispatched Brain in unreality to save Sora, but something went wrong.
Security
And
breach.
all he remembers is that he
Which
needs to
again,
save
I
Sora.
don't consider
He's
that shit
introduced his
canon.
name to Yazora now. Insync Sephiroth. Kingdom Hearts brought the first.
Yeah,
major
Scott's
force
retired, he's
together
never
in
gonna
victorious
go back
villain
to
for
it.
FF7. The team thought it wise to recruit everyone's favorite NSYNC member. Lance Bass.
Yeah,
for much of
the
same
lore
reason,
is never
Chris
going
Pratt
to be
has
fully
recently been
finished
hired to voice act
because
Mario.
Matt
Because he's so
because
cool.
Matt
He's so
because
cool.
Matt Penn and Scott
Taking a
don't
look
even
at
have
all
a
the voice
relationship
actors that have stepped
anymore.
up to fill Sephiroth's
Because
shoes.
Scott Coffin cannot take fucking criticism. It got some canon in it. I don't consider it canon. Like, in the timeline line, yeah, I see why it fits, but, like, in my own personal opinion, I don't see it fucking canon. Excuse me?
It's pretty safe to say that Lance was by far the best.
Fucking Superman voice someone in that game and I'm just now realizing? Okay, shit.
To birth by sleep. Mickey's shirt literally disintegrates after the Heartless fly by him. This is supposed to be the reasoning for why King Mickey was shirtless in KH1. Riku and Riku. Another interesting note to point out is the name similarities between two of Square's.
Yeah, the lore is never going to be finished because everyone has their own different fucking opinions on what the timeline is. Like, I have my own version of what the timeline is.
Disney launch celebration. For the celebration of the American launch of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 remake.
Yeah, exactly.
Disney teamed up with Square Enix to celebrate.
It's like in the overall story, it's like, yeah, security breach is a part of it, but I personally, in my own fucking opinion, do not consider it canon. I'm just like, hey, this is just shit that's here, and is a part of the timeline, but I will never acknowledge it as a part of the story.
And merchandise signed by Tetsuya Nomura himself.
Because it completely gets rid of every other progressive thing that happened in the timeline.
Exclusive crossover game created for an April Fool's event. The plot for the game involves Sora and the gang traveling to the Mushroom Kingdom world, where Organization 13 has sent a number of data replicants
what the
that wreak
fuck?
havoc. Kairi's hair inspiration. Utada Hikaru is a successful singer-songwriter and song producer. One theory holds that Kairi's hairstyles throughout the series are based directly on hairstyles that Utada had throughout the years. Looking at the comparisons, there is definitely a resemblance. The true Keyblade bearer. The YouTuber, 13th Vessel, and his brother have extensively data mined into the inner workings of Kingdom Hearts 3 to find some interesting hidden content, including this ominous message. You are not the true Keyblade bearer. It's left up to speculation as to what this message means. Most people seem to think that it's the devs' innocuous way of poking at anyone that digs deeper. A way to reward and slightly tease the data miners. Nevertheless, it was a cool find.
So fucking V and Reese and them who
Lost Vcast game. Verizon
who
Wireless
fucking
Vcast cell phone
literally
network
have
and
dug
official
so deep in the Kingdom
game
Hearts
released
lore
exclusively for their
that if it
phone
was like a
network.
pit, I would
The
not be
game is
able.
developed by Disney Interactive and Superskip, and it's not accepted as canon with the rest of the Kingdom Hearts series. In 2012, the Vcast network disbanded, preventing new people from downloading this game. It's believed that we only have existing footage for the first of the 4 chapters on the game. Executive meddling in Arendelle. Tetsuya Nomura has stated in an interview that KH3 was more difficult to create compared to other KH games, as Disney supervised the project much closer than they did in 2002, limiting their creativity and design decisions. This was right around the time that the movie Frozen was entering its development. It's been said that Frozen's main protagonist, Elsa, had a sister in the films that was originally intended to be the villain, when the development team for Kingdom Hearts tried to write this into their story. Disney intervened as they didn't want the character to be villainized. Remnants of the Disney plot. Originally, Disney wanted the game to have a simpler and more light-hearted feel and storyline.
Kingdom
However,
Hearts
Squaresoft
game
pushed
are
the plot
so much more
complex,
fucking deeper.
similar to their Final Fantasy games.
Yeah,
It's
they're
theorized
they're
that the
dark,
original
but
plot
they're
was
also
about
still
Sora,
enjoyable.
Goofy, and Donald returning
Which
with
fun
Sora to
fact, I don't know
dispatch
which
the
park it is, but
darkness
Sora
and
sometimes is
forces
in the
them
Disney
to fade
parks.
away. It's
And
theorized
someone
that
I
the
know has a
antagonist
signature
was
of him.
originally intended to be Maleficent, along with several other Disney villains. Some evidence for this might be the major roles of these villains.
No,
in
I really
KH1
do
and that
not
they were
care.
dethroned by their own home-brewed villains. There's also a scene where
Listen,
Donald and
I
Goofy
am like
stars
so
in the
done
same
with
discipline
FNAF.
traverse town.
Because one,
There cannot be two
I
Keyblade
have
masters.
shitted on that.
This is in
I've
reference to a line spoken by Riku
I've
in
played
Super
all the
Keyblade
games
from Sora
before,
and Hollow Bastion.
and I'm
This
so
obviously
done with
does
them
not
that I
make
don't
sense
want to
with the
speak
rest of
about
the
them.
Kingdom
And
Hearts
2,
series.
I've shit
However,
on
the game
security
was
breach,
originally
Fancy
planned to be a
Candies.
standalone
Oh,
title. On top of
I've
this,
never fucking played.
the
I've never
actual
watched
in
someone
this
play, but the
translation,
songs that have been made
originally
from
said
that game
there
are
could
fucking
only be
good.
2 heroes. Marlexia was originally a woman, rank 11 of Organization 13, otherwise known as Marlexia, was originally planned to be a female character in the game's early stages of development. However, they decided against this idea because they
No,
didn't want
listen.
voice actors to be
It's
female.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Is
This
there
refers to
there
the
is a
theory that
couple
the
good
Disney
things that have
team
came out of
saw
this.
the
One, you have an
development of
amazing
Kingdom Hearts
community and people like
originally
building their own
existed in
games.
creating
Actually, no,
Bowser's
scratch that.
Palace
The
for
community
movie
sometimes is
Frozen.
shit.
However,
and
due
like
to
the
complications,
interactions that
they
came
were
from
forced
it
to
are
scrap
like,
Elsa's palace and
but the
resolve its
songs that were
conflicts
made,
with the labyrinth of
especially by the Living
PS4
Tombstone
port
and like
version.
one other person
When the
whose
game
name
was
I'm
ported
forgetting,
over to the
fucking
PlayStation
god
4,
tier.
it received a bump to 60 frames per second. Some people have speculated that this was a main culprit for why there was a vast number of additional glitches that arrived with this game's port, although some of these glitches existed within the PS3 version and were transferred over, and many have since been patched over. Treasure Planet and Dream Drop Distance. There was a flying ship level that was data
Actually,
mined
hold
and
on. Speaking
hidden
of
within
this,
cave.
actually, scratch this. We're gonna pause this for a second. Cause I remembered the trailer dropped, and I want to watch this. I forgot this was released.
自分が望む結末ではなかったと絶望するのなら他の世界に退場すればいい。選択肢は無限にあるはずだ。
This looks like Prey. Everything looks so fucking realistic. I love it. He looks so good. Holy shit. Put those grippers away, but he looks... Kyrie?
あなたはこの世界に来て7日間
Oh, he's in a whole ass different world. He looks so good.
クワットラトム聖者の世界ではあるけれど私たちにとっては死の世界ってことになるみたい
Similar to an afterworld. Oh god, they're fucking dead. I said it was gonna break. I said the stream was gonna break. I was not wrong. Oh no, cool, my face cam just died. That's wonderful. That is a giant ass heartless thing. Keyblade's back. I'm so fucking. This looks so cool. This looks so. That's a reconnection. No. Oh my god, this looks so fucking cool! Oh, fuck all of you. Fuck you. Oh my god, wait, oh, that fabric! I have no idea. Who the fuck are you? Oh! Come back, my friends! I wonder where is he? Bitch, do your fucking job and heal me! Oh my god, they look so good. I mean, no, it's a PS game. Matching the making. Oh, I'm a bitch. I'm a whore. This is from 2 months ago and I'm just now reading. Oh, this was in April? Are you kidding me? Oh, oh, Aqua. She's hot. What? Sorry. I didn't say anything. But yeah. This is an hour-long video after the third game, which I played. I'm saving that to my watch later. That's definitely a thing. If you want to know how long Kingdom Hearts 3, it's 11 fucking hours. Actually, 12 hours. Oh my god. I'm already home. Holy shit, Nyx found it. What happened to your voice? I'm happy, I'm excited. If I'm really excited, you get really high squeaky shit. No, Nyx, thank you for finding the thing I've requested you to find. What's in the box? Don't give a fuck. The Frozen level you will never play. But like, he looks so good. He looks so good. Oh, I'm studying. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3, all the cutscenes are 10 hours. Did we actually? I need to text the person I played this with and actually see if we beat Kingdom Hearts in one day. So I know there's games we've beaten in a weekend. An apology, Matt Pat. No. Canvas is just their original artist. I need to... I don't care. We're getting streaming music now. Actually... There's a video. Poppy is too much crap. I've shitted on Poppy playtimes too much. Where is it? We watched that recently. Oh fuck, where is it? I watched this video earlier. Here it is. Well, it took me forever to find.
Scott was looking for small titles to sprinkle money onto and to get a merch license from. My advice for future fanverse creators is to get as sellable a concept and characters as possible and try not to overdo it on the game itself. That's not what Scott appears to be interested in. He wants something decent, obviously, but not ambitious, just quality.
Oh, son of a bitch, my mouse is down again.
The built and my experience working with Scott did sour our relationship fan-wise. You know, a never meet your heroes type of deal. FNAF fan game devs will be FNAF fan game devs. A couple of days ago, Afton built a really impressive proof of concept for a dark first-person Five Nights at Freddy's
I haven't
game
played
showed
this.
up on Game Jolt. Produced by Final Night's developer
but when I watched this, I
Gelatin
really
and
liked the
built in
concept
Unreal
of it.
4, the game claimed to be a rejected fanverse project that they had been working on for the last 2 years. Set after the events of FNAF 3, you play as the Mechanic, one of the engineers responsible for the upkeep of the Fazbear Frights attraction. After saving Springtrap from the fire at the end of FNAF 3, you discover that it is possessed by the spirit of Freddy Fazbear founder William Afton. The Mechanic teams up with Afton to build him a new body. The gameplay placed the player into mid-sized arena-style maps, pitting them against animatronic foes that one must trap and dismantle amidst other objectives hidden throughout the level. Most interesting was the dynamic AI concept. The idea was that enemies, maps, and maybe even some objectives could be mixed and matched in a super custom night mode. This could allow you to replay a Freddy level with Foxy as the antagonist, for example. The game is really impressive on a technical level, especially considering the small team size. Sure, there was some jank to it, the controls are pretty unintuitive, and a lot of systems clearly required refinement.
It's moving! Put the light down, please! Put the light down,
Still, considering this was a private
Joy
demo
of
made
creation.
only for Scott and not intended for public release, it was very, very impressive. A lot of us were really curious as to why such a promising fanverse candidate was rejected. Wanting to learn more, I spoke with Liam, project lead at Gelatin and developer of Afton Built as well as the Final Night series, in hopes of getting some more insight on the game as well as the fanverse as a whole. I was curious about the cancellation, but I was more curious to learn as much as I could about the inner workings of the fanverse. What does a prospective fanverse dev go through? How does one get their game in front of Scott for consideration in the fanverse? For most of us, the Afton Built demo came out of nowhere. I asked Liam, the project lead, how the game was initially conceived. They explained that initially, before the fanverse had even been announced, Scott had reached out and asked for the source code to the Final Nights games. Scott made no mention of remakes or the fanverse or anything. Unfortunately, Liam would miss an email as it ended up being sent to a secondary inbox of theirs. Guys, you gotta check your emails. In September, when the fanverse was announced, Liam double-checked and lo and behold, there it was, a letter of interest from Scott. At first, Liam proposed remaking the Final Night series, but Scott declined.
Joy of Creation is free.
Instead, he gave Liam the option to present a new original title instead. Thus, Afton Built was born. They worked on a prototype, some footage of which you can see here, in the hopes of selling the idea to Scott on a gameplay basis. Scott was not impressed and asked to see more originality, especially unique character designs. It was clear that the fanverse was pretty much a merch machine. On top of having a good game, unique characters were the key to getting in. Liam reworked their team and onboarded new creative talent. They developed more unique concepts, like the Foxy design we see in the demo. They continued sending periodic updates to Scott, hoping that eventually he'd allow them into the fanverse. In the summer, Scott reached out to the team and asked for their information so as
that
to
Foxy's
draft a
fucking terrible.
agreement.
I don't listen. I don't like things that are like low on all fours running at me. So if I ever see that shit, I'm fucking booking it or I'm accepting death.
They didn't hear from Scott for another several months. In the fall, they were told that ClickTeam, the people behind the game engine used to make the original FNAF series, as well as the publishers of the first few games, would be in charge of fanverse communications going forward. According to Liam, they handled things a lot better than Scott did. They were communicative, approachable, and quick to respond. They even got into it with them, which surely made the exchange of information a lot easier. However,
now that I'm like rehearing this, I'm like,
to work on the game on their own dime for several more months.
Was this before or after Hero and M. Craig of Matt
information to draw up an NDA, they finally got the contracts. To be clear, these were just the NDAs, contracts that say we promise not to discuss anything about our negotiations. These contracts didn't grant.
Fun fact, in recent news, I almost signed an NDA for something, but then I pulled out of it because I was like, never mind, I love to talk about this game too much.
Even enter negotiations. What a mess. Gelatin sent in a pitch video detailing the game, the team's previous accomplishments, and a rough budget estimate. Scott asked them to keep him updated on progress, but did not acknowledge their budget. Months pass. Around October 21st of that year, they finally get into talks about the budget. The Gelatin team has been working really hard on this for a while, and they can't continue to devote time to it without support. People gotta eat and pay rent, and this project was certainly too ambitious for a handful of people to tackle during the evenings and weekends. The negotiations didn't go very smoothly. smoothly. While ClickTeam was managing the day-to-day stuff for the fanverse, they couldn't negotiate for Scott. Scott still owns FNAF, and only he can make those final decisions. This gives us some insight into the reality that Scott is still deeply involved in the FNAF franchise, and he hasn't retired at all, really. Unfortunately, Scott's communication failures continue.
There you go.
According to Liam, Scott would occasionally take up to 3 weeks to reply to emails, and all the Gelatin team could do was wait.
Damn, sounds like my school.
The teams discussed multiple budgetary structures and even crowdfunding, but all of these were declined. Naturally, this frustrated the Gelatin team. One member even quit the project entirely, unable to continue to devote time to it without any compensation. Regardless,
which is completely
persisted.
understandable.
New hires were brought on and work continued. Finally, after several more showcases, in January of this year, Scott finally agreed to a development timeline, budget, and funding structure for the project. Speaking of January, did you know I had 15 subscribers in January? That was nearly 3 months ago when I started making videos. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We're nearly at 70,000.
Oh my god, Foxy looks fucking terrifying.
Insane. For my younger viewers, a funding structure is essentially the schedule on which you get the money. Usually you get some of the money initially to start the project, then you get more money as you hit milestones that you agreed upon ahead of time with your publisher, and so on. This reduces risk for the publisher as they get to check in on the project and exert more control throughout the development. Invigorated by the promise of finally receiving funding and being officially accepted into the fanverse, the Gelatin team went into hyperdrive, pushing themselves to get a new demo over to Scott in February. They finish it and send it off. As is apparently typical for Scott, several weeks go by with no response.
Okay, so it's not a one-shot death.
Frustrated. They were anticipating this funding weeks ago, and the promising news had only upped the emotional stakes for everyone involved. After 2 long years of thankless, painstaking development, all done in secrecy, without anyone to share and show off their work to, they were finally at the home stretch. Liam reached out and communicated these concerns. Finally, after a few more weeks, they received news through ClickTeam that they should be expecting their contracts within the next week. The team was overjoyed. However, when they opened Scott's email, they found that he had changed his mind on the funding structure yet again. According to Liam, apparently we had not proven ourselves even after that demo. This new contract didn't even admit them into the fanverse. It just released a bit of money to them so that they could continue working on the project and attempting to prove themselves.
If you are ever going into like a game industry business and someone changes a contract like mid thing,
it would ultimately be rejected and no additional
don't
funding
fucking
would
do
come
it.
In the
Pull
short
out
term,
that
this
shit
also meant the
immediately.
team would
Don't
receive
spend 2
substantially
years.
less money than they initially agreed to. Gelatin pushed back, voicing their concerns regarding this change. They didn't feel it was right to negotiate a deal with someone only to then change the terms on them when they go to send the contract.
Also,
However,
my desk is probably
Scott
coming tomorrow,
is
so I'm
within
going
his
back to my
rights do
I'm
that,
going back
lame
to my
as it
room,
sounds.
which means I got
After
my
the
door
team
shut,
expressed their
so you
concerns
don't
regarding
hear as
Scott's
much
sudden
fucking
change of heart,
noise.
They immediately
'Cause
got a call from Scott, who offered
no
to fly
door.
the entire team out to the south of France to meet with him for a 4-month retreat where they could
Fuck
hash
no.
out the negotiations in person in real time.
No.
Just kidding. Scott didn't reply for 2 weeks. When he finally did, he handed them a contract denying them entry to the fanverse, granting them rights to continue working on Aftonbuilt, but only in a non-profit fashion. Even crowdfunding wasn't on the table if they signed it. This contract obviously must have given them a little bit of money, because obviously I don't really understand why they would have signed it, but I doubt it was anywhere close to compensatory for the actual development costs. The negotiations seemed to fall apart when it came to the funding structure, so it's not like Scott would just hand Gelatin a ton of money in a thanks for trying kind of way. This is all just speculation on my part though. Nah, my guess is he handed them just enough money that they couldn't turn it down, but not enough to seriously proceed with the project. That way they would basically have to sign it. I asked Liam that, if in hindsight, they wish they'd just signed off on Scott's last-minute switcheroo proposal.
No.
I do not regret it, no. It would not have moved us any closer to getting into the fanverse, and the money wasn't enough to continue from where we were. Plus, it made me have my doubts about working with someone who went back on his word so easily. I asked Liam what they would do differently if they were starting a prospective fanverse project today, with all the knowledge
coming from someone who's like actually had to sign contracts for stuff.
Publishers who are looking for
please
actual
fucking read through them and don't just jump into them blindly.
Small titles to sprinkle money onto and get a merch license from. I also wouldn't spend 2 years working for free anymore just to prove a concept. Paperwork and sketches and rough prototypes is as far as I'll go.
Don't do that shit.
To any future prospective fanverse
do not work for free for someone just to like get the fame from them. Don't.
And try not to overdo it on the game.
It's the don't meet your creator type shit.
He wants something decent, obviously, but not ambitious. Ooh, well that one was a doozy. Obviously Liam and the Gelatin team are upset that they worked so hard on this really ambitious, impressive project only for it to collapse right at the cusp of everything coming together. Still, I think there's a lot that can be learned from Liam and Gelatin's experience with their Fanverse project, and I think prospective Fanverse devs should take note of this. Ultimately, the Fanverse was made for fan games, small projects that couldn't really have been made without utilizing existing assets or concepts. If you start working on a FNAF fan game for fun, the Fanverse is a really amazing way for you to turn what you expected to be a hobby into what could be the start of a successful career. And that's
Isn't that
awesome.
the clown from
However,
that one
there are a lot of
game where you have
projects
to
that
like
shouldn't
brutally
target the
abuse
Fanverse.
fucking clowns?
Just because your game has sit and survive style gameplay, and even if it has creepy furry monsters or robots attacking you, doesn't make it Scott's property. Scott Cawthon doesn't own Protect Yourself from Spooky Robots in a Restaurant gameplay. MatPat did a whole game
I said it was gonna break. I just never said when. Whoa, we back. Nice. Alright. I'm gonna finish this up and then I'm gonna,
there you go.
gonna
If
end
you want to
stream.
make a FNAF style game, don't use FNAF characters, don't use FNAF stuff at all, and you can just sell it on Steam like any game. You don't have to jump through hoops with the Fanverse and stuff. Games like FNAF Plus obviously can't exist without the Fanverse, and I think those are the kinds of games that work best for it. Games like Pop Goes have been in development for ages now and tied themselves into the FNAF canon. They have to be Fanverse titles. However, you could almost certainly put original creepy
No, it works! Give me a sec.
Pizzeria and make a FNAF style game and you could sell it. Scott
Bitch, my site can work while my computer is literally dying.
He wouldn't win. Of course, in theory and in practice are two different things. Who wants to be the person to test that? That would potentially
Oh good, it's another game I don't ever want to fucking play.
Devote more time to and
Also, I don't stream that much. OBS keeps fucking breaking.
And I'm hoping that will be confirmed as the rest of the Fanverse comes out. I'm hoping that is the emphasis. Thanks for watching. Also, a few weeks ago, I challenged fellow YouTuber Postra to glorious FNAF combat. It did not go so well.
Shut up. I appreciate you, but shut up. We're ending stream because OBS is now breaking every 4 seconds. Who the fuck is live? Ah, my hand, like, ow. My hand fucking, like, twitched. I hate that. I know it's another fuck. Okay, I know it's another short stream, but at this point... I know it's another short stream, but again, my streams are gonna be whack for a little bit. Why? Maybe it's because I'm trying not to break my internet. Okay. I don't want to do the Corey. Who's playing Minecraft that's not fucking Dream? Live, laugh, lesbian activity? Fucking bet. Hello. My friend, we're gonna raid. So yeah, streams are gonna be fucking weird. I don't even know when the fuck I'm going to stream next because, again, it's weird. One sec. Alright, don't know when I'm gonna stream next. Yada yada yada. Bye.